Thank you for your attendance tonight. I welcome you and officially call our meeting to order, our February 13th, 2014 Gilbert Town Council meeting. We will begin with an invocation and pledge of allegiance. As noted on the agenda, the invocation may be offered by a person of any religion, faith, belief, or non-belief, as well as council members. A list of volunteers is maintained by the town clerk, and interested persons should contact the clerk for further information. The invocation will be offered by Councilmember Jared Taylor, after which Councilmember Ray will introduce our scouts and the one in particular who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We invite those who are here in council chambers to please arise.
Our Heavenly Father, we're grateful for this time we were able to be here tonight. We're grateful for the freedoms of our country. We're grateful for the beauties of the earth and the beauties here in Gilbert. We're grateful for the opportunity to strengthen each other and pray that we will have Thy Spirit and do Thy will tonight as we make decisions for the best of our community. And we pray for those that are suffering, for those that are in need, that we can find ways to strengthen and support them, is our prayer in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Hiram Bailey will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll pass the microphone down, Mayor, and have each of the scouts quickly introduce themselves and what their rank is.
Hiram, and I'm a tenderfoot.
I'm Sessions, and I'm a star.
Rain Gilbert, and I'm a first class.
Jackson Morgan, and I'm a first class.
Ethan Adams, first class.
Joseph Allen, Life Scout.
Carson James, first class.
Preston Prince, first class.
Monty James, Eagle.
And we have Rick Bailey on the far end, who's also an Eagle Scout. Mayor, although they came from north of Baseline Road in the spirit of community togetherness, they come down here to support Gilbert. Anything you want to say to them before they leave?
Welcome. Great to have them here, and thank you for your service in the community. Thank you. You may be seated, and we will continue. Our town clerk will now conduct the roll call.
Mayor Lewis.
Here.
Vice Mayor Cook.
Here.
Councilmember Cooper. Here. Councilmember Daniels.
Here.
Councilmember Peterson.
Here.
Councilmember Ray. Here. Councilmember Taylor.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Before we continue with the agenda more in a sequential order, we tried to get the word out, and I think I will just jump to this and have a little direction from our town attorney. Agenda item 30, which the council has received a lot of feedback on. We're anxious to talk about it. There was a request today that the agenda item 30, which is talking about the property at Riggs and Higley, the Vestar property, that it would be continued to another meeting. The council has received details about why, and my assumption is that we will probably, as a council, approve that. We have 4 citizens who have come to speak, and we thank you for coming. And this is more for your benefit that I'm taking this agenda item right now, because if a decision is made to continue the item, we will make sure you get notified of when it will be talked about at a future date. And we encourage you to stay and attend the rest of the meeting, but at the same time, if you did have other items to get to, that would let you know that this agenda item will not be discussed in further detail if we have that vote. To our town attorney, if it was under the public hearing, are we able to just open it up for council to see if we want to continue it, or do I need to open the public hearing for 30 and then ask the council their thoughts?
Mayor, members of the council, you need to, you can do so without opening the public hearing.
Okay.
And it might be appropriate if 4 people have indicated desire to speak, to, before deciding whether to continue it, or at least whether you continue it or not, give them the opportunity to speak if in fact their schedules don't allow them to appear and the anticipated return date.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Cook, can you help me as you've got the names of the 4 individuals?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to. Justin Michael.
And Justin, this would be a question. If we pick a date and move to continue, are you able to come back? Is there, and let's say it's a month from now. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Mayor, members of the council, I believe that the anticipated date would be March 27th. So those 4 members of the public would better be able to know which day they're
Okay, thank you.
might not be available for.
So March 27th is a tentative date.
Kevin Ramsey.
Okay, thank you, Kevin.
Aline Sims.
Okay, thank you.
And Gina Mobby. Maybe.
Okay. Please. All right, we'll have 1 speak tonight, and therefore I do need to open the public hearing.
Mayor, that's correct.
Okay, which I will do right now. I open the public hearing for agenda item number 30, and if you could please come forward. And what we will ask you to do is to state your name and whether you're a Gilbert resident for the record, and then you will be given 3 minutes to speak. And in fairness to our citizen about to come forward, Town Attorney Hamblin, could you give that 20-second overview about what this agenda item is for the rest of our citizens to understand?
Thank you, Mayor. There is an application for a major general plan amendment to rezone 54.75 acres at the corner of Riggs and Higley to rezone those acreage to residential. And because it's a major general plan amendment, it requires a supermajority of the council to do so.
Thank you. Please proceed.
My name is Gina Mabey, and I'm a resident of Gilbert. And I thank you for the opportunity to just say a couple of words. I appreciate you moving it up to the agenda, to the front of agenda also. I know that there's a lot of talk in our neighborhood about this topic. Let me start by saying how much I appreciate the council taking the time to really be thoughtful and considerate of both parties. I appreciate that. And when we last left off, I know that there was going to be a third-party assessment because we were discussing possibilities of splitting the land zone change and how much would be appropriate. Could it work? Might it not? And I understand that that assessment would be very costly to the tune of $50,000. I know I don't have $50,000 to get somebody's opinion, so I can respect that. However, I'm concerned about if it's still on the table to split the land. I'm concerned about the fairness in having one side, which is Vestar's assessment of what would be appropriate or what can work or not. And I think that it would only be fair if we're not going to have a neutral party assess the property and the viability of the proposed change, that the local residents have an opportunity to vote on that. I know that many of our neighbors aren't aware of what's happening. I know now there's a website that's been put up concerning that. And I don't know about you, but every time I drive past one of those little bitty signs on a stake on an empty lot, I don't really stop and read it. But I know a lot of people are becoming aware and are concerned. And so I just wanted to state that if it's a situation where there's not going to be a neutral party assessment, it's important enough to me that I would be willing to do what I could to make sure that the neighbors know. Because just as when many of you were elected, I may not have known who you were until I saw a giant sign with your face and vote for Jen Daniels. I can remember where her sign was on the corner back then, and took note. And of course, when I got my ballot in the mail and I saw the individuals, I went, you know, it is time for me to think about that. And I think that the neighbors would feel respected and feel like the Gilbert plan is being honored by letting them receive it ballot-wise, and they can take a look at it and they can give their opinion. They may not want what I want, but I think that it's important that we hear what the majority wants and then decide accordingly. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Cook, I understand that there have been a couple of additional requests and you wanted to verify if they are able to come back.
Yes, Diane Netzel.
Okay.
She'll be back.
Thanks, Dan. That was it. Okay. I wanted to ask a question from the request that came about the Santan character area, and that could be Kyle, Linda, or a team member in our planning department. And for the residents who are here, and the comments that were just made, the question would be that the council had requested further study into what we were calling the Santan character area. Can you let us know the status of that? And if some of our citizens who are here tonight wanted to give some input into that discussion, what they could do. Linda, please.
Thank you, Mayor Lewis and council members. The Santan character area is one of 4 character areas in the town of Gilbert. The planning staff will be working on the update of all 4 character areas this year for the annual update. We will be kicking it off with the Santan character area first. We will have a series of open house meetings. We'll be working with our communications department for some social media efforts because we find that that will reach many of our residents and businesses. So yes, those here today who are listening in, we would love for them to participate. They can call our planning department or talk to me after the meeting, but we do have a desire to hear from the residents in Gilbert, specifically the Santan character area, as we put our arms around the land south of Germain down to the boundaries of our community. So we will be looking at urban form, natural features, all of the aspects that people feel about the Santan character area, trying to wrap our arms around what is needed, what is wanted, what is missing, and better define what is the character. So that's about a 6-month program. We'll start the open house process in March and begin drafting the changes and reformatting the document, of course working with the public officials, the Planning Commission, and yourselves through this process. About 6 months to develop a good draft, and then from there through the public process for adoption.
Thank you. And to the 5 residents who we have names for, we can proactively share those names, and then you can contact them too.
Yes, and we do have their contacts now, so they're on our list already.
Thank you. To the council, any other discussion tonight before I would close the public hearing and entertain a motion to have it continued? Okay, thank you. I close the public hearing on agenda item 30, and I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move that we continue agenda item number 30 to the March 27th council meeting.
With that motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, with that motion second, please vote. That's approved with a 7-0 vote. Thank you. And thank you for the flexibility. And to the residents who came, we did attempt this afternoon to get the word out best we could, and I'm sorry that we didn't reach you, but thank you for coming. We'll move back to agenda item number 1. Councilmember Peterson will lead us in the Pillar of the Month Respect, after which Councilmember Cooper will lead us in the recognition of one of our special assistant fire chiefs. Councilmember Peterson.
As council members and town staff, we agree to listen and communicate openly with the goal of building mutual respect. We pledge to treat everyone with courtesy, politeness, and dignity. We value individual and cultural differences and follow the Golden Rule.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to invite Vance Gray. And are you going to bring anyone up here with you? No, not today. Always in the background, but definitely the support. Sweet wife there. And then we are going to bring Chief Joe Bush up here as well. Vance, why don't you tell us just a little bit about your time here in Gilbert, and then I'll hand the mic over to the chief, who can clarify anything you might have said.
Thank you very much. I spent the last 21 years here in Gilbert. I began my career January 1st, 1993 as a firefighter. And over the past 21 years, worked my way up through the ranks to captain, battalion chief, and ultimately assistant fire chief, where I served 2 fire chiefs, and the last one is standing here next to me. That's a very brief biography of my time here. I'll say that it was the best, and the town of Gilbert was a huge part of that, and to the fire department especially. I can't say enough for making those 21 years the best. So thank you very much.
Well, first, I'm not sure whether to feel offended or not that he left right after I was named fire chief, but we'll pretend that's not the case. I've worked with Vance for as long as both of us have been here. We were part of the original full-time firefighters hired for Gilbert back in the early 90s. And Vance has been an important part in taking the department from 2 fire stations to today's 10 fire stations, and as we grew to become really a full-service fire organization. So on behalf of the department and the town of Gilbert, I want to thank Vance for serving the citizens of Gilbert in a very professional manner, and wish him all the luck in the future.
And it's great to see some of your team here, and I know they, along with the chief, represent the entire team in expressing gratitude to you. The mayor has written a certificate of appreciation here, and I'll just read a little bit from it. As Vance Gray brings to close his 21 years of service with the town of Gilbert, we sincerely and enthusiastically thank him for his leadership and commitment to serving our community. His substantial contribution to the fire services has helped to steer Gilbert through its period of rapid growth. Moreover, his wisdom and friendship have contributed to the betterment of the community and strengthened the town of Gilbert Fire Department. And so with that, I'll present the certificate of appreciation. The mayor has something for you as well, and then we'll definitely want the audience to applaud. There we go.
Vance, thank you for the service, and we look forward to continued moments where we get to see you in action. Councilmember Daniels will now introduce our next group presentation from...
Thank you, Mayor. This is our Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee. You're not getting out of it. Come on up, guys. We want you guys to all stand up here. I'd love to introduce Jennifer Hood. She's our staff liaison. She helps keep the Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee on track. As you can see, this is a fantastic group of young people, and it's been my privilege to work with them for the last couple of years, and I have absolutely loved every minute of it. These are high-quality individuals that you will see as leaders in the community going forward. They do not let age or experience or anything else stand in their way. They are willing to get in there, roll up their sleeves, and get to work, and I can't say enough good things about them, nor this lady here, Jennifer Hood, and I'm going to turn the mic to her, and we can talk about Youth Town Hall.
Thank you. I'm Jennifer Hood. I'm the advisor for the Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee. We are actually going to be doing a presentation tonight on one of our events that just finished in December. It's Youth Town Hall. It's an opportunity for the students, the youth of Gilbert, to get together and talk about subjects that are important to them. This year they picked substance abuse, college prep. I'm having to do this by memory. Wait for it. Hold on, I can get it. Cyberbullying. I had help over here. Oh, mental and physical health. I can't get it. I blanked on those last two. So they had an opportunity to come together and talk about those. The groups were made up, this year we had quite a great turnout, and they were made up of about 25 students in those groups. And basically their purpose is to come together and talk about their subjects and see if they can come up with solutions or ways that the town can help with those topics, and how do we move forward and give a little bit more information and hopefully kind of decrease or help with some of their topics. So tonight they're going to be doing a presentation on those. They're all incredibly prepared and ready to go. They're very excited. I know they are. Do you want me to have them introduce themselves real quick, or do you want to do it later? Okay, and I'm actually going to pass the mic over and they can introduce themselves, and then we'll get started on the presentation.
Hi, my name is Bailey Herbstreit, and I go to Williamsfield High School.
Hi, I'm Lena Hornline, and I go to Gilbert High School.
Hi, I'm Pradisha Tawari. I'm a senior at Campo Verde, and I'm the chair of MIAC.
Hello, my name is Hunter Henderson, and I attend Gilbert High School. I'm the vice chairman of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee.
Hi, I'm Ezra Koch, and I go to Williamsfield High School.
Hi, I'm Peyton Mahoney, and I go to Gilbert Classical Academy.
Hi, I'm Catherine Chiffo, and I attend Highland High School.
Hi, I'm Elise. I'm a senior at Mesquite.
Hi, I'm Sarah Martinez, and I attend Mesquite High School.
Hi, I'm Danny Linder, and I go to Williamsfield High School.
Thank you. You guys can all sit, and then we'll have presentations.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council members. My name is Hunter Henderson. I'm the Vice Chair of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee, and I was also the leader of the Substance Abuse Discussion Group. During the Youth Town Hall event that the Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee hosted in December of 2013, the Substance Abuse Discussion Group decided that it wanted a more positive and uplifting approach to tackling the issues of substance abuse amongst our youth. Some of the more shocking statistics accentuated that this issue is much more prevalent in the town of Gilbert than most of us had previously thought. The most commonly abused substance, alcohol, had an average first-time drinker age of about 12 years old. Furthermore, we acknowledge 3 simplified categories of abusable substances: alcohol, recreational drugs such as marijuana, cocaine, crystal meth, etc., and prescription drugs. The issue that many of the youth had with the current methods of substance abuse prevention programs and public service announcements was that they were often based upon blatant scare tactics. The teens of America are not unintelligent. No matter how fervently these programs, as well as parents, try to scare us about substance abuse, we realize that we aren't going to die from trying marijuana. So instead, what the youth in the discussion group suggested was a more positive outreach program based upon the uplifting stories of the people who have risen up out of these addictions. A way in which to utilize these stories is to create a support system within the schools that gives students and teens another resource for information and help. Similar to the A World of Difference Club at Mesquite High School and the Anti-Defamation League at Gilbert High School, the discussion group suggested that we institute a club within each of the high schools that would perform the same actions as the aforementioned clubs. However, rather than talking about stereotypes and discrimination, the club would talk about substance use prevention, which prompted the students to affectionately label this potential club as the SUP Club, Substance Use Prevention Club. The club would consist of student delegates who would go to each freshman English or mathematics class and speak to them about the dangers of substance abuse as well as the lasting consequences of that life, backed up by videos and biographies of other teens their age, perhaps even at their own school, who have been down that road and have recovered or are recovering. The subclub delegates would also provide each student with a list of places to get additional information and ensure that the students are aware of every available resource, including school guidance counselors, that is open to them. The town council would mainly oversee the program and ensure its implementation is smooth and that it receives the proper support from the high school administrators. The main objective of the subclub would be to inform teens of the consequences of substance abuse and provide them with the resources to get assistance with their current or future issues with substance abuse, ultimately providing them information that is not based on trying to scare them, but on simply telling these teens the truth. Are there any questions from the council? All right. Thank you, council. Have a nice night.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members and mayor. My name is Peyton Mahoney.
And I'm Catherine Chiffo, and we were the co-facilitators of the cyberbullying seminar.
Our group focused on the topic of cyberbullying by determining what the problem is and finding a viable solution to it. Cyberbullying is intimidation, harassment, or threatening behavior that takes place through technological devices like smartphones, text messaging, and social media sites. It can include name-calling, rumor milling, and sharing private photographs or videos with the intent to humiliate an individual. Through our seminar, we determined that the best solutions to cyberbullying are awareness and prevention. In order to prevent cyberbullying from happening to teens in Gilbert, we propose that the town sponsor several anti-bullying assemblies run by the nonprofit organization I Will Not Bully.
I Will Not Bully is run by its founder, Tamisha Curry, an Arizona mother whose own child faced bullying. Their mission is to provide anti-bullying education, training, programs, workshops, and recreation that fosters accountability, honesty, and resolution. These assemblies would focus on cyberbullying prevention and the organization's 9 Creed, which includes 9 traits needed to overcome bullying. These traits are integrity, forgiveness, compassion, completeness, tolerance, selflessness, leadership, unity, and generosity. With the help of those at I Will Not Bully and the cooperation of Gilbert teenagers, we believe this plan will effectively stifle cyberbullying in Gilbert, Arizona. Does the council have any questions for us?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Councilman. My name is Bailey Herbstreit, and hi, my name is Pradisha Tawari, and we represent the Future Planning and College Prep course for Youth Town Hall. And basically, our whole idea was to have college preparation and future planning for teenagers in high school as well as in middle school. And basically, we got a diverse group of kids together who were planning on either going to college or having a job after school or possibly going into the military. And we basically outlined an exciting way to plan our future, which could either be the college track or trade school, etc. And basically, we came across an idea of possibly creating a website that is linked to either the MIAC page on the Gilbert website, and basically either have a personalized calendar or checklist that can be helpful for students as well as teachers and parents and any other interests of basically people that are interested in doing it. And it's basically to keep students and teachers informed of what's going on with college as well as future preparation for what can be happening as secondary school or basically college prep. So what we decided to do was have a quick and easy way and user-friendly way for students and other people that are interested in this program to have an easier way to find out what's going on with our future.
Hey, our group did a phenomenal job brainstorming different ways to spread awareness about the topic. So we're going to design a website and eventually an app to better access teenagers. We also want to go and visit the various Gilbert district schools to help implement our program and also hold a planning night for the students. We hope to spread the word about the website for the benefit of youth in Gilbert in order to clear up some of the anxiety and confusion that comes with applying to colleges, trade schools, academies, or joining the military and planning a financial future. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. I'm Sarah Martinez,
And I'm Ezra Koch.
and we were co-facilitators for the Physical and Mental Health Seminar during Youth Town Hall. Our group discussed the two topics and how they're related. It was decided that physical and mental health are correlated, and in order to be physically healthy, you need to be mentally healthy, and vice versa. Our discussion naturally drifted to the topic of mental health and the status of that within our community, specifically within our teenagers. We were discussing how one of the biggest things that impacts mental health would be stress. With teenagers, there's many stressors. For example, there's the stress of finding what career you want to do, what college you want to go to, the requirements to get into that college, the deadlines to get into that college, the application process, and that's just dealing with the educational aspect. There's also the stress of homework, relationships, both personal and family, having a job, being in sports and clubs, the stress of participating in community service, and plus the stress of the natural biological changes that teenagers go through during this time period. So we wanted to find a way that we could have everyone in the community come together and de-stress, an event that would bring everyone together and have fun and to relax. And we decided on an event that we want to implement called Community Water Day, and Ezra will now explain what that is.
All right, Water Day essentially is like, remember when you were all in elementary school and we all got to go outside and, you know, have like a water slide and all that stuff? Well, essentially it's the same thing, but for adults and adolescents. But how would we fund that, you might ask? Well, hopefully taxpayer dollars. No, I'm only kidding. But also, in order to Relieve yourself from mental stress. There are several steps that can be taken, such as more sleep. When you lack sleep, your body tends to hold on to more stress. You're not getting as much sleep. You're not feeling as active. You're not feeling as happy. So it's easier for you to accumulate negative thoughts. And also, a lack of sleep can cause corpulence, which is also negative. So in addition to Water Day, we were hoping to maybe implement some sort of fun activity for just the schools, starting from not necessarily kindergarten through 12th, but maybe start at middle school from ages 12 to 18, and just get everybody together for a nice fun day with, with the parents. Another thing would be for us to go from school to school in Gilbert and talk about the importance of mental and physical health and how that truly impacts you, because a lot of us, I feel, don't really know how important physical and mental health are. And that's pretty much it. Any questions?
So for the Water Day, is the town manager the one that leads the way and does it first? By assignment? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Daniels, some fabulous presentations, and I know you had a chance to review them, and we'll be working on the follow-up with some of these suggestions. What else would you like to add?
That's it, Mayor. But really, I think you've seen a wide variety of their talents and them bringing that knowledge to the table, and I think they provided some valuable suggestions for us as we move forward. I also, Mayor, this team is hard at work on many things, but one of them that they're working on is our youth government day, where the young people in our community take over Town Hall, and we're looking forward to that in early April. Applications are available on our town's website for all youth ages 14 and up, and we would hope all would participate. So thank you for the tremendous job that you're doing.
And some of the presenters tonight were, well, one in particular was the mayor last year. And I heard that he did such a good job. There was this concern. No, there was no concern. Great example for me. And to the MIAC team, thank you for your leadership, and you are our leaders of the future. We appreciate you. We'll move to communication from citizens. Vice Mayor Cook, I understand there's one request, and we'll move to that right now.
Yes, Mayor. We would like to invite to the podium Brett Honig to the podium.
And as Brett knows, he'll state his name, and if he is a Gilbert resident, then he will be given up to 3 minutes to speak. Brett?
My name is Brett Honig. I'm the Gilbert 508 East Page Avenue. I'm a Gilbert resident. I talked to town manager and Mayor Lewis about a giant baseball field, practice field. I talked to town manager every end of the month. I work for him. I'm working for him now, and I pour into him every month. I give him a list. I think we need to get this thing going, the baseball field. I think the Mormon Temple needs to have something done to have people be safe walking across that street. I think the Gilbert Police needs to have something done over there, have lights, or people need to slow down where the temple people are walking. I think this is getting dangerous, and I think this is getting very dangerous. I call Jenny today, need to talk to her about that, and I left a message for her, and I left the message for our town manager, and I left President Lewis a message about this. I think I'm going to ask town manager get the signatures, get the giant field built to get everybody signed. Have a great day.
Thank you, Brad. And just to clarify to our town manager, that's a giant baseball field, because I talked to Brett about this earlier, so thank you.
Mayor, that was Cardinals baseball.
Well, we'll go back to the minutes and see what it says, but thank you. We will move to the consent calendar. Vice Mayor Cook, what, as you've received feedback from the council members, are there certain consent calendar items that we'd like to discuss?
Yes, Mayor. We have 3 that we'd like to have discuss. Agenda item 5A, 16, and 18.
Thank you. The other items then, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I would like to move that the council approves agenda item 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15A, 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, with that motion and second, please vote. That's approved with a 7-0 vote. Thank you. Before we get to 5A, because I see several requests to speak on that topic, on 16 and 18 to council members, who made those requests?
Mayor, for 16 would be Councilmember Tyler.
Okay. Would that be lengthy discussion, or should we go ahead and, please, Councilmember Taylor?
Mayor, I just wanted a separate vote on this one. Support the project, just would like to see local funding source on this one.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Councilmember Peterson?
I had a quick question that I meant to ask earlier, and I'm sorry I didn't, but I do have one for staff. If they could tell us if this funding source is a dedicated revenue source for the purpose of the grant, or if it's just from the general fund. Do we know? I mean the federal general fund by that, anyway.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Sherry Gibbons. I'm the Town's Emergency Management Coordinator. Councilman Peterson, the funding source is federal dollars. It's federal grant dollars. I'm sorry, I can't speak to if I know exactly which federal dollars they come from.
I asked because it's one of the things, and I'll talk about this more later, but I'm very excited about with the policy tonight. That is something, as much as possible, I would like for us to be able to identify as part of the information in the packet for us, because it really does bear a lot on my decision related to these items. And since we don't have that information, I would assume, as with most of these, that it's a general funding source instead of a dedicated revenue source. So with that, Mayor, I'm in the same basic place as Councilmember Taylor, and I appreciate the additional time to discuss that.
Thank you. We'll entertain a motion on agenda item 16.
Mayor, I move that we approve item 16 as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, with that motion, second, please vote. That's approved with a 5-2 vote. Thank you. Agenda item 18. Who wishes to speak on that?
Councilmember Peterson.
Mayor, this is an interesting item here. I voted against the original contract, but for reasons of principle. But now we do have a contract, and as I say it, we need to approve this item in order to keep our previous agreement. And I do think that that's what we should do. That's the right thing to do, so I'll support it.
Thank you. Any other discussion? I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve item 18.
Is there a second?
Second.
With that motion, second, please vote. That's approved with a 7-0 vote. Thank you. Agenda item 5A. Town Attorney Hamblin, if you could give us the overview on 5A. We do have several people that wish to speak on it, but I think we'll have you give the overview what 5A is all about, and possibly our Parks Director, so please.
Mayor, members of the council, as you know, in 2006, the town entered into a 30-year lease agreement with Spiral Inc. to build and operate on Gilbert Town land in the Crossroads District Park, a 2 ice rink ice facility. Each had various responsibilities. They had to build the building. We had the land, and it was a ground lease, and they paid us while they were viable. They paid us, and the current operator continues to pay us rent for the use of that land. It was to be operated as a family skating center with retail, food, beverage space, and a game area. Approximately $1,000 a month for land rent plus a percentage of the profits. The total approximates, over the last 4 years, approximately $28,000 a year. In the course of time, Spiral Inc. fell behind in its obligations to U.S. Bank, and in the amount of, and the bank obtained judgments against Spiral for millions of dollars. The bank went to enforce those judgments and have the Polar Ice, as well as other Spiral Inc. properties, placed into a receivership managed by a receiver the court tasked Mr. John Mitchell of Phoenix with the responsibility of operating the ice rink, the Polar Ice, until a new successor land lessor and operator could be found. And Mr. Mitchell has done so and recommends to the council that the principals who operate Arcadia Ice in Phoenix assume that lease and carry on with the operation of Gilbert Polar Ice. The court, it is the court who decides who is to assume the lease. And the court who has appointed Mr. Mitchell to make that determination and recommendation to the court. Mr. Mitchell does so in the interest of addressing the court's concerns and raising funds to pay off the debtors of Spiral Inc. The town's role in this is limited. It's, as the town can object, but must have a reasonable basis to do so. The town's conducted investigation through outside counsel and looked at the loan application for a small business administration loan of the Arcadia Group, contacted references and done independent research, and has found and concluded that the Arcadia Group has the resources and the management experience to successfully carry on this great Gilbert facility. I'm now going to turn some time over to Rod Buchanan, our Parks Director, to talk about some of the community outreach and some of the benefits how we've taken that into account in negotiating an agreement with the Arcadia Group.
Thank you. Rod, before you jump in, I apologize. I meant to do this earlier. From our study session on Tuesday, I knew that we would spend time on Agenda 30 in the public hearing, and because that's been continued, there were 6 other public hearing items. Just to do a quick assessment with the council on 27 through 29 and 31 through 33, are there those 6 items, did you want some discussion on them? Okay. This is, yes, I get a 20-second timeout. Not a timeout. What I'd like to do, if there are individuals here on 27 through 29 and 31 through 33, looking to the council on my right and left, is to just press pause quickly, and I will open. Okay. We do have one speaker on 33. Let's see which one. Well, please ask James on that if.
I'm James Smith. You asked that you would like to speak, but you did not indicate if you're for or against agenda item number 33. You are for it? I just need it for the record.
Thank you. All right. And James, if we proceed with the vote, you're okay? I mean, you just wish to have that for the record and not necessarily to speak, is that right? Okay, thank you. Okay, so I will proceed for the sake of citizens who are here on those 6 agenda items to open the public hearing on agenda items 27 through 29 and 31 through 33, and I now close the public hearing on agenda items 27 through 29 and 31 through 33, and we'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move that the council approves agenda items 27 through 29 and 31 to 33.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. With that motion second, please vote. Thank you. That's approved with a 7 vote. And thank you for those who are here for 5A for that flexibility. Rod, please continue. Back to 5A.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Lewis and members of the council. Around September of last year, we became aware of, and so did the public, of Arcadia's interest in our Polar Ice facility. And a number of issues began to be heard by staff and others in the community regarding an ice utilization schedule that had been distributed throughout the ice user community. And what's important about that is that It was later found out during a public outreach meeting that was held in October that that particular ice utilization model was not their proposed schedule. We did hold an outreach meeting, as I just said, and it was approximately 300 people there, and we were able to ask the group 3 main questions. What are the positives of polar ice that they currently like? What are some improvement considerations for polar ice? And then lastly, what are some of the concerns or suggestions they would have for a new owner? And in particular with Arcadia. You can look at the results of that. They're summarized on attachment A in your packet to the staff report. We tried to whittle down many pages just down to 1 page. And I think it accurately represents the feeling and the sentiment of our users at Polar Ice. Since that, Arcadia had come up with a proposed ice schedule. It was distributed. I would say that it met with mostly favorable comments. I was emailed and copied on a number of those emails. And we met with the potential new owners to talk about how we could make sure that some of those elements were, some of the elements that the citizens have come up with and the users have come up with were protected. And so, or at least that they were engaged and they were considered. So they came up with a schedule, and there's a lease assumption agreement that has a schedule, and it basically a process when changes are to be made. And it has different thresholds and a system to be able to allow us to have discussions about major changes in their schedule. Also, it resets the current term of the lease agreement. It wasn't originally a 30-year lease agreement, and I think there's about 6 years on it now, and so that would reset the clock for the 30 years. And a plan also to retrofit the commercial refrigerant system if needed by the year 2025, and that's a federal law on the type of refrigerant that they use. Basically, the agreement that I'm referring to tonight, Mike will talk to you about the other agreement, but the lease assumption agreement is something that Arcadia, the new potential owner, was not required to do, but they did discuss with staff some options to be able to, I believe, in good faith, make sure our citizens and our ICE users were, their input was considered. And so with that, I'll turn it back over to Mike, and then I'm sure there'll be some questions.
Mayor, members of the council, as Rod indicated, we do have a better agreement than we had 6 years ago with Spiro Inc. We have greater protections for the town in ensuring the maintenance of a family-centered skate center with town input on major schedule changes, and also a fund set aside, as Rod mentioned, to change the refrigerant as is anticipated within the next 10 or 11 years, to have the funds available to do that as EPA regulations take effect. As mentioned, there are 2 agreements. One is the lease assumption agreement. One is the leaseholder's consent agreement that we sign in connection with the Small Business Administration. And this protects the Small Business Administration, a lender in this instance, to have a security interest in its assets, or the assets that loan pays for the benefit of the skate center. As mentioned, Gilbert does not own the building, does not own the facilities in the building. It owns only the land upon which the building rests, and so consequently, the town has a ground lease. And I mentioned earlier that the town's interest, or the town's interest is strong, but its ability the town is not to choose who assumes the lease is quite limited. The town was not tasked with choosing a new lessor. The receiver was. The town was not given the opportunity to decide who that person is to be. This town does have an interest, but has an interest in a family skate center, which is better insured through this new agreement and the new provisions negotiated to that Arcadia has agreed to. But you might liken it, Mayor and members of the council, to suppose the ground lease was not for a skate center, but was in fact for a cell tower, and that the current operator of a cell tower was going out of business, and a judge was attempting to have a receiver or decide who was to be the next operator of a cell tower. Gilbert's interest in, as long as the person was financially viable, as long as the person was going to operate a cell tower and not open a taco shop or a hamburger stand, the town's ability to object to Verizon versus T-Mobile versus the CenturyLink would be limited indeed. And we're kind of in a similar situation. But the town has done its due diligence in that it's ensured that the Arcadia Group is experienced, the Arcadia Group is financially viable as reviewed, and as determined also as recommended by the receiver. But the town, through independent counsel, has done independent research and come to that same conclusion, so staff comes to you with the recommendation that you approve both of these agreements so that we can get the Gilbert Polar Ice into new hands that are capable and anxious to get started to return that facility to its vibrancy and a great benefit to the town. Of course, there may be public comment. I'm sure there is. You may have questions after that public comment. I did want to introduce you to some other people in the audience who can answer any questions that you might have. Seated to my left is Mr. John Mitchell. He was the receiver appointed by the court. He will be able to answer any questions you have about the selection process or how it was it came to be that he's recommending to the town and will recommend to the court that Arcadia Ice assume this ground lease. Also here tonight are Andy Mellon and Jim Rogers, the principals of Arcadia Ice. They, of course, will be able to address any question the council has on what's their plan, how do they hope to reach out, what do they hope to operate, and their vision for the future of Gilbert Polar Ice. I guess first I'd ask Mayor, members of the council, if you have any questions for me.
Councilman Ray.
Appreciate your comments thus far, Mike. If the council votes to approve this, I assume that Mr. Mitchell will go back to the court and offer that to the judge, and the judge will then make a decision as to what to do with it. If the council were to deny this, what would happen next?
A number of things could happen. Many of them to be decided for by the receiver. One thing that could happen is the town could intervene, and in the proceedings in the court, and argue that perhaps another operator would be better suited. But the town would have to have a legal basis to do so. Either that another operator, not that we prefer one better than the other, or we like this operation better than that operation, but one is inexperienced or one does not have the funding indicated. That would be a heavy burden. It's also entirely possible that the receiver would proceed without town approval and seek to, and I imagine this would be the case, proceed to have the court have Arcadia appointed. And so, but it's not that we've bargained with this cloud over our head. We had items too that they needed from the town. And with that, we've negotiated this improved agreement, an agreement improved from 2006, with these schedule protections, with this consult with the town before you make major changes in the program or the scheduling. And so we think this is a better arrangement with a partner that I think we believe will be a success for the town. Any other questions?
Vice Mayor Cook.
Mike, I think I'm going to take you up on your suggestion. I would love the team from Arcadia. I'd like to ask him a question.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, that they are willing and prepared and anxious to do so. You may wish to do that after the public comments or before the public comments. You know, of course, the option is entirely your own, but I'm sure they'd be more than happy to answer your questions.
As I've talked to Mike about this, this is what I would recommend, that we have John Mitchell as a receiver give a quick overview of the process, and then have a representative from Arcadia give a quick overview of their vision. And then I think it's time for public comments, and that'll be a good flow so that as a council we continue to get the big picture, and then we can get into the details. Does that work? Councilmember Peterson?
I just have a quick, I want to confirm something. I think I understood from the agreement that he's described as an improved agreement. It actually gives the town the right to approve or disapprove. It can't be unreasonably so.
Correct.
We can't disapprove of their schedule change without a reasonable objection. But if it is a reasonable objection, we now have the right to disapprove of their changes to the schedule. Is that correct?
What the agreement entails, Mayor, Councilman Peterson, other members of the council, is that before they make a major change in their schedule or in their programs, major change being defined as more than 10% of the hours, that they consult with the town, explaining the need for this rather significant change in their operations. The town will work with them, consult with them, and see other arrangements, and then agree or disapprove, but we will discuss and negotiate how that change can best take effect. We don't want to get in the ice rink management business. Our interest is ensuring a family skate center, not whether, you know, there's exactly this many hours of ice time for figure skaters, exactly this much for hockey teams, but that all ice interested citizens of Gilbert and nearby and our neighbors have an opportunity to participate in this great facility. So the new agreement does require consultation with us and our approval, which will not be unreasonably withheld.
And so I think what you're saying, with the Winter Olympics going on right now, we just need adequate time for our future Olympians to be able to practice.
That's right. We have to get them. We have to get them ready for 2018 and 2020.
Great, thank you. And so to the council, as I talked with Mike previously, and this doesn't need to be lengthy, but I think both for the receiver, John Mitchell, an overview of the process, how you've been involved, how you came to the decision will be helpful, and then we'll turn it to a representative from Arcadia, also make some comments, and then we'll move to the public comments.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. I think it's important to understand where we came from, to understand where we are tonight. And it has been a long time coming, and I would say that I'm grateful that we're here, finally, and I think when it's all done, that water day that was discussed earlier, I could probably use a couple of those. So, we were appointed originally in January of 2012 over 2 of the polar ice facilities in town. And so for everyone's understanding that isn't that familiar with ice operation, there's 11 sheets of ice in the valley. 6 of those were owned by the spiral entities, encompassing 2 sheets of ice per building. We ultimately, we started the takeover of the Gilbert location and the Peoria location in January of 2012, and immediately after that, the defendant in that action reached out to their lender and was able to work something out, so the receivership action was stayed. Towards the end of 2012 and the beginning of 2013, that forbearance agreement fell apart, and we were then reenacted to take over the operations of Gilbert Polar and Peoria Polar. Approximately 45 days later, a different lender petitioned the same court to have us appointed to take over the Chandler location. And we ended up with the 3 locations with the direction by the court to sell to a new owner or multiple owners and be the conduit to a new life for these assets. That's when the operation and the marketing really began on these assets. A marketing program for all 3 assets was put out nationally. We put ads into Rink Magazine, which is the main trade publication for owners and managers of ice rink operations. We fielded calls from potential buyers throughout North America, both private companies and public. We reached out to local owners. As you can well imagine, the word of a receiver being appointed over these assets in the ice community, be it figure skating or hockey or public skate, spread like wildfire. And so we had a lot of people reaching out to us. So we developed a plan that said, look, we want to find buyers or a buyer that will come in and treat these assets and care for them that they deserve. Through our operation, we understood the shortcomings of how they had been operated previously. Unfortunately, our hands are tied by the capital available to the receivership to make any meaningful changes in the short time. But we did the best we could during our tenure. At the same time, we're looking for the buyers. When we set a call for offers date in May 30th, 2013, we submitted were 5 potential buyers submitted offers. We'd received 17 confidentiality agreements from different buyers wanting the marketing materials and due diligence materials. And ultimately, we looked at the combination of offers on all 3. Now, I know we're just here for Gilbert tonight, but it's important to understand that of these greater puzzle of ice operations in the valley, all of these rinks are shoulder to shoulder. They just are. The community is that small, and people skate at multiple locations. And so we looked at a combination. Would one buyer be best, or would multiple buyers be best? And based upon where the bids came in, initially, we went to a best and final. At that same time, the lender for the Chandler location decided that the indicative bids were not nearly enough to warrant a receivership sale and decided to take their property to foreclosure. So now I'm just dealing with the sale of Gilbert and Peoria. At that time, the secured lender for Gilbert and Peoria, which is the same bank, reached out and said, look, we can't end up with one. So at this point, the buyers at their best and final need to submit for both. And those instructions were given to all buyers that had originally submitted. Based upon the next round of negotiations, not all buyers came back. Some buyers only came back for Gilbert, and some buyers just couldn't get up to a number that was agreeable to the plaintiff in the receivership action. So I had to find a buyer that I thought was financially capable, good for the operations, and then ultimately what I looked at is who is local compared to international. When I reach out to international buyers, a lot of them kind of laughed when I told them we had 11 sheets of ice in the valley coming from the desert Southwest, and they said, what, you guys skate out there? I said, yeah, we have the Coyotes, and at that time the Coyotes ownership wasn't solidified yet. So there's a lot of dynamics going on during the sales process. Ultimately, the Arcadia Group came to the table with the highest bid for both locations. And thus, the experience level that the principals of Arcadia can talk to. And at that time, I took that to the plaintiff in the receivership action and said, here are the bids. Here's where we end up with not only Peoria and Gilbert together, but some of the other bids that are just for Gilbert. And it's not that my hand was forced, but I had all of the components that I needed with Arcadia Group satisfied. So at that point, we entered into a purchase sale agreement, and we moved forward with dealing with town staff and town attorney and outside counsel to negotiate the assumption agreements, to negotiate the purchase sale agreements, and move forward with an escrow and due diligence timeframe. The Arcadia Group closed in January of this year on the Peoria location, and that is a done deal. The financing on that was similar to what is being put in place on this transaction, and they've proven themselves. in that transaction, and this is the second part with Gilbert. And I think at a high level, that was the process. Without getting into specific numbers, due to the fact that I'm bound by confidentiality agreements with other buyers, and for obvious reasons why I haven't reached out to the Arizona Republic and commented on a lot of this, until escrows are closed and it becomes public record, I don't have a lot of reason to discuss specific numbers because it then can give other buyers or people that may be in backup position an unfair advantage. Just as though I don't talk about where they submitted. So I can answer other questions if you have regarding the process and the timing. I don't want to speculate on what happens with regards if it's not approved, but that's kind of where and how we got to where we are today.
Thank you. And to the council, as I said, let's continue on with our Arcadia representative, and then we'll do the public comments, and then we can bring speakers back for questions. Thank you, John.
Mayor, council members. My name is Jim Rogers. I've been involved in Arcadia for most of my life. I started in high school as a rink rat and fell in love with hockey. Didn't get a chance to play when I was younger because my parents couldn't afford it because it was a pretty expensive sport. Got in high school, played every sport, loved, and then was looking for something cool to do during the summer. Ended up in the ice rink, fell in love, started skating, and it never looked back. The 80 Olympics happened, fell in love with hockey, wanted to make more opportunity for kids to play, more opportunity for adults to play. At that time, there was only about 8 men's league teams playing in town, 3 rinks, and I opened up the doors for a lot of people, and the idea was to get other people the opportunity, the chance to love the sport that I loved. It's not just hockey, it's figure skating, it's public skating, it's all aspects of the sport of ice skating. And we looked at the opportunity. I was worked for the Ice Palace. It was a mom and pop operation for several years, 17 years or so. And then Ice Chalet, a national corporation, came in and bought it. I worked for them for about 6 months and saw what they were doing with it, and the escalation of pricing and the cost of the sport was going through the roof. And I didn't see it was going to have a good ending there. So I ended up going to the Coliseum. I ran that for 5 years, ran a professional hockey team, the Phoenix Mustangs. We won a West Coast Hockey League championship. Been involved with the sports pretty much most of my life. Ice Chalet went belly up 5 years after I was at the Coliseum. A couple commercial real estate guys said, hey, let's save this rink for the community. We went in, we gutted it, we rebuilt it, and we created a community rink. It's the oldest rink in town. It's got great reputation. It's got good ice. We're a family-oriented operation. It's not a corporate money-making, our goal is to get as many people to play the game as possible, to skate, love the sport. And I looked at the opportunity when the Polar Ices went into receivership. I mentioned to these guys a year ago, hey, let's look at it, because if we can join the entire valley together, we can make opportunity for people to skate, play the game, figure skate, without having to travel huge distance. The cost of the sport has gone astronomically high. Fewer people are able to play. My goal is to have 10,000 kids playing hockey in Phoenix area in summertime instead of 3,000, which are playing right now. So we're doing everything we can to try to reach out, make opportunity for more people to play, and I look forward to making that a reality.
Jim, thank you for those comments. Could you take just another moment and describe your vision for the Gilbert ice skating rink?
Gilbert is the best facility in the state. It's the newest. It's got the most opportunity. I walk in there at different times. It kills me to see that there's hardly anybody in there utilizing it. And there's a lot more opportunity for the whole neighborhood or the whole township to get involved. I'd like to see more high schools get involved, the elementaries. They were talking about the physical aspects and mental aspects. The opportunities that you have with that facility opens up the doors for a lot of people. Ice skating is a great sport. It's something that anybody can do it. I've taught, I've been coaching for over 30 years. I've coached blind kids, I've coached deaf kids, I've coached, special ed. I mean, it's just unbelievable opportunity. So I just think it's not being fully utilized out here. I want to take the programs that are here and make them better. My goal is not to come in and change anything. I just want to make it better.
Thank you. And to the council, several months ago, we did have, as Rod described, a meeting at a regional library that a lot of people were there, very engaged citizens. A lot of suggestions were given, and I know in managing an operation, sometimes it's hard to meet every need, but there was good feedback that was provided. Do you have any comments, and for some of our citizens who were there and who are here tonight, of things that in listening you're going to be able to do for Gilbert, and then on the other hand, maybe some things that you're not able to do now but you hope to in the future? Any comments along those lines?
My goal would be to make it a fully utilized from start to finish during the entire day, and make an opportunity for ice usage to be out there for every age and ability. Right now it's being underutilized. So the goal is to get as many people utilizing the facility, create more hockey teams. I'd like to see, my goal is to have more hockey in the valley, figure skating in the valley, where we can do competitions, shows, where you don't have to travel to California, Colorado, go back east. I mean, high level hockey is great, but it's getting to a point where everybody thinks that that's where they need to be. And I'd like to be able to see the Arizona blossom with the facilities we have. We have 11 facilities of ice. We should be able to stay in town and play the game and play the sport without having to take out a third mortgage on the house. So.
Okay, thank you.
I have talked with all I've talked to the hockey associations, the coaches. A lot of people are against us taking it over, but I think we've talked through it. We've worked out arrangements and agreements where they're going to get everything they need, and we're going to try to make their program stronger.
Thank you. And we will now turn to public comment unless any questions at this point. So public comments, okay? Thank you, Jim. Vice Mayor Cook, I'll turn to you to help direct traffic.
Mayor, we have 6 individuals that filled out requests to speak. 2 of the individuals do not, but I'd like to ask for the record their position. They did not indicate either for or against. So, Rick Gillis, are you for or against? Thank you. And Patrick McCormick, are you for? Thank you. With that, Mayor, we have 4 individuals that would like to speak.
Please.
First speaker, we welcome Sandy Rowe to the podium.
And Sandy, as you come up, you'll be setting the precedence. If you can state your name and whether you're a Gilbert resident for the record, then you'll be given 3 minutes to speak. Please.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, council members. My son also is on there to speak, so we like the numbers together. I am Sandy Rowe. I live actually on the west side of the valley, and this is how much it means to me to be here, to give you my opinion, and also my sons to share our experience that we've had with the Arcadia group, basically with Jim Rogers. I'm a single mom. My son Manny's been playing hockey since he was 4 years old, and that was, again, Jim's influence. We took him to the rink, and he just fell in love with hockey. Since then, he's progressed on up. There's been years where he wasn't playing for any particular team, and Jim, throughout the years, has kept track of my son, and he noticed one year that my son wasn't able to play, and he actually called me on the phone, and he said, "Why isn't your son playing?" And I said, "Well, I just, personally, I can't afford it. There's just no way." And he goes, "Well, that's unacceptable." And I said, "Well, I can't do it." He goes, "No, he's going to be down here. He's going to be playing for one of my teams." He goes, "You get him here. I'll take care of everything else." I said, "Well, Jim, that's not possible." He goes, "Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it." And he did. He is a man of his word. This is truly his passion. When he puts up what he did for my son for all of these years, for 14 years, and the influence that he's had on my son and bringing him to the man that he is today without a father, it's been absolutely amazing. When I say when he gives you his word, he is a man of his word. And when he says that he wants to bring hockey to individuals that can't afford it, I am standing here as a witness to what the man's passion is. When my son didn't have a helmet to play because he outgrew it. Imagine that, a grown boy. Jim goes in and he gets a helmet for my son, and he goes, here, put it on. No other questions, nothing. He's never asked me anything in return. He didn't ask me to come here tonight. I came of my own free will because that's how much I believe in the man, and I've seen his vision, what he's done in Arcadia over the years, the improvements that he's made, the programs that he's made available to the community, and again, just the passion that the man has for what he spoke of here, to make it available to everybody, to the community, and to have the programs for the competitive figure skatings here, for the hockey tournaments here. That truly is the man's passion, and he lives and breathes it. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
We'd like to invite and welcome Sean Murphy to the podium.
And after Sean, who is on deck?
Manny Rowe.
My name's Sean Murphy. I am not a Gilbert resident, but I can just about throw a rock from my house to Gilbert. So I've known Jim for since about the mid-'90s in various capacities, as a referee-player relationship, as a rink operator. Most recently, the last 6 years, I've coached within Jim's organization. This past season, my son decided to progress his career a little further and move up to a higher level, which ironically landed me in Gilbert. So this season that we're underway right now, I am coaching both at Jim's organization at Arcadia as well as with my son's team in Gilbert. I just want to say Jim and I have shared several lengthy conversations over the years about the state of hockey in the Valley. I think he has a great vision to improve that. And I think he will do great things in the rink at Gilbert. Thank you.
Thank you.
We welcome Manny Rowe. You do not want to speak, and for the record, he was 4. We welcome Bridget Cause, and then on deck will be Madison Zermoni.
Hello, Mayor and council members. I'm not a public speaker. I am the figure skating director at AZ Ice in Peoria. So that rink that was acquired about 30 days ago from the Arcadia Group. I went into it with a little bit of hesitation because, as you've heard so far, he's very, very hockey passionate, and there's no doubt that hockey is his blood. So the room for figure skating concerned me, and what I've experienced with him is he does support figure skating. We are doing new programs. We are doing park and rec programs through figure skating. We are in the process of planning a spring show for the first time ever in the history of Peoria. We always have Christmas shows, but we're doing a spring show, which is figure skating involved. And I've seen improvements. Our restaurant is being worked on. There's been some maintenance in the ice plant that's being fixed, the cleanliness of the building, the improvements in guest services, and this has all been within 30 days. So my experience with him has been amazing. These are people that are passionate about what they do. They don't only want it to succeed, they need it to succeed. They've invested everything in this, and it's important for them, and you can feel it, and you feel the family, and you feel that sense of wanting to be there, and he wants people there that want to be there. And if you don't want to be there and you're not supportive, he will find the people that are to get behind him. And it's just been a wonderful, wonderful experience for me on the figure skating end. So I thank him, and I would appreciate it if, this went through for Gilbert, because I know the same thing would happen at the Gilbert facility. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'd like to welcome Madison Zermino to the podium.
Hi, I'm Madison Zermeno, and I am a freshman, so this is my first year on Jim's high school team. And I'd like to say that I have been on 2 other teams playing hockey, travel, and out of all of them, I feel most at home on the ice when I play with Jim. He not only encourages to do better, but he makes it fun for me. And even though like it's an all boys team and I'm the only girl, it can make me weird sometimes, it's always fun to go out on the ice because you always know Jim will be there. And it's great improvement that I've seen. He's led our team to a state championship this year, and it felt great. And Jim's the main reason how that happened, and so cool. Oh, one more thing. My brother's been playing for Jim for 3 years now, and Xander could have had the chance to stay with another team. He decided to stay with Jim because he's cool, because we've known him for years, and he's cool.
Thank you.
Mayor, that's the end of our request to speak.
Thank you. To the council, would you like to ask some questions of the presenters or just have some open dialogue? Vice Mayor Cook?
I do have a question for Mr. Rogers. The current name of the ice rink is called Polar Ice. Is that name going to be retained?
No. We are absorbing the name AZ Ice. It'll be AZ Ice Gilbert.
And is that name consistent with your other rink in Phoenix?
We have AZ Ice Peoria, which we just assumed, and then Arcadia is Arcadia. It'll probably end up becoming AZ Ice Phoenix because Arcadia is a community, not really the city.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Jim at this point? Jim, that was too fast. So Councilmember Ray, get back, you get your skates on and get back up there.
Jim, I have a couple of financial questions for you. We have received some emails and phone calls and text messages, and we've seen an article in the paper where there is some concern, justified or not, that the amount of money that you guys intend to put into the rink, the $30,000, is not near enough to make it what some people think it should be. Can you comment on that as to whether that's enough money, whether there's more plans, what your thoughts are there?
When we originally went in, we looked at the facilities, and I mean, I did a lot of due diligence to figure out what was necessary to be done. That's a great facility. It's only 6 to 7 years old, and it needs a little bit of cosmetic work. But when that $30,000 number came from what I think it's going to take to put that facility back into being top of its game. You know, you can spend a ton of money making a lot of bells and whistles, but that's not going to improve the skating industry. So my goal is to keep the cost down. I mean, I can go in and put $3 million into it, but then the cost of everything is going to go way up. So our goal is to get more people playing, not fewer. And we're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that facility is at top notch. 30,000 was a number that I think is going to necessary. We were a lot more in Peoria because it's a lot older facility. But you know, we're committed to do whatever we have to do to make sure that it gets the needed attention that it has to be a top-notch facility in the state.
One of a follow-up question to the same thing. One of the comments that I've heard is that the Chandler facility is going to get approximately $3 million in improvements. And like you said, it's an older facility. It may need more money. But the concern is then raised that if Gilbert is going to spend, or if on the Gilbert rink $30,000 will be spent versus $3 million, why would people stay in Gilbert and play rather than traveling a few more miles to Chandler to a facility that has a lot more money put into it?
Because the cost of hockey and figure skating and public skating will be a lot cheaper. It'll be better for the family orientated. You know, a family can do it. You're not paying for $3 million with the bells and whistles. The idea is, you know, we don't want to throw money away just to be spending money. Chandler's an older facility. It's been not maintained very well. Peoria was the same condition. We're putting a lot more into it, but our goal is not to try to encourage people to come over because of the looks. We want to have the best programming in town. We're going to have the best hockey programs in town, the best competition, consistency, good scheduling. It's just what we do. I mean, we're going to do it and make sure that we follow through our programming the way it's designed. And people swear by it. I have people that come from Gilbert all the way to Arcadia on a regular basis because they like what we do. And they just can't wait for us, to get this over because they want to be able to stay home and get more people playing. So,
I have another financial question, but if there's any follow-up questions on the same topic, then now would be a good time.
Please.
The other, I guess as part of that $30,000, do you guys intend to redo the ice at all, or is it $30,000 for other improvements outside of the ice itself?
Right now, we're going to be we have to do some work on the compressors, which is they've been neglected. To hire them, they've been there. There hasn't been an oil change since they took the building over. We're going to go in and do the improvements we need to do, top ends, painting and cosmetic things that need to be done. But right now, our goal is to make the ice the best it can be. That's what we're selling is ice time, and I want it to be smooth, hard, fast. It's good for the figure skaters as well. I want it to be up. I want to be able to adjust the temperatures where it needs to be, not have to worry about it making it through the summer.
So on the next topic of the finance side, we as a council were given a letter, and it appears that as of a week ago, you and/or your group were asking for investors still via some sort of post at the complex, and by quickly reading over it, it looks like you guys are needing more money for that. Needing more money for the down payment and for the purchase of it. Can you comment on that at all?
Well, I'll say one thing. We weren't going out for a cash call until we needed it. Now we need it, so now we went to it. We've got the money that we needed. So, I mean, we were looking for investors. We started this process back in August, and now it's February. And in the meantime, I've had a lot of people come and go that were interested in getting involved with us, but because this took so long, they're like, okay, one guy moved to Saudi Arabia, another guy, people have left. And it's like, I can't take their money in on good faith until we know we're going to be able to make this deal work. We got the deal done right. Everything's going the right way now. We made a cash call for investors. We've got our investors lined up, and we're good to go.
So at this point, everything is set. There's no more need for additional money to make the sale happen. Is that correct? I didn't hear. I'm sorry.
No, we're good to go.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councilmember Taylor?
Jim, thanks for being here. Can you just name the 2 or 3 things you're going to do different than the prior ownership to make this more successful operation?
Well, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but I care about programming and opportunities, and I follow through with everything. I work 18, 20 hours a day sometimes, and when you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. And I believe in every program I install. I don't just open the doors or hire somebody to go in and do it. I believe in everything we do, and I believe it reflects who we are. And I want to be able to touch lives. We're in the human being business. My goal is to make everybody's lives better. From my mini-mites, the little guys that are out there that are struggling around on the walkers, to the kids that are playing high school hockey, or even high school age kids coming out on dates. I want to have a nice, clean facility for them. We're going to do everything we can to make it family friendly, which I'm not saying they didn't do that before. I don't know. I was walked in. It's kind of sterile. It's almost like no one cared. And my staff that works for me at Arcadia right now, and the staff I'm creating in Peoria, they're going to love what they do, or they're going to find other work. I mean, the idea is that people that come in and spend their money in those facilities need to understand that this is a family operation. We work at this together. This is not for me to go make a killing and go to the investors and say, here's your cash call. I mean, this is a business. I plan on being in this for 25, 30 years. I want to be that 85-year-old guy driving the Zamboni.
So from a programming standpoint, what does it mean to be more family friendly? Give me some more specifics. I'm having a hard time understanding how that's going to make this more successful than before.
I'm going to take hockey programming from mini-mites to the pro level so it has consistency and has loyalty, and kids are going to want to stay home and play hockey in that facility and not run off to the next facility. The idea is to create a foundation and the best coaching staff I can find that are going to teach these kids the life path, life lessons, so they're going to want to stay and they're going to be proud of being in Gilbert. I don't want to have, if right now I coach a high school hockey team. We won the state championship last week. You go through that locker room and you'll see 10 bags or 15 bags, and they'll have 15 different associations involved with them. There's no loyalty. These kids don't understand what it's like to play for a team and have the passion to be involved with something from start to finish. I want to see that come back. I want to see the high school programs out here, developing these kids from the elementary schools. I want the kids in elementary schools to be able to have little house hockey team programs so they actually can stay in town and play in this area, in this township, instead of having to travel, across the valley to play hockey.
Thank you. That helps. I appreciate it, Jim. Thanks.
Jim, as you were talking, we feel of your passion. So an 18-hour day, hopefully you get a little bit of a break at some point, but you've got Peoria and Arcadia, and then it would be Gilbert. How would your time be divided? Would you be at all three sites? Would you rotate? Would you be at all three sites every day, or maybe one day at this site?
It depends. Right now I'm building a staff that I believe that has the same vision I do. I'm going to have from Bridget and Peoria. I have people that have the same passion for what they do, and they're going to look out for the business. They're not just there clocking in and getting a paycheck. I want to know if I'm in Gilbert that the people in Peoria are looking out for Peoria. And people at Arcadia are the same way. And I have really, really good people. And it's not, they're part of the family. So wherever I have to be, I'll be. If I have, I'm on top of things, not in it. So I don't have to be the guy that's doing everything all the time, but I'm going to make sure I have the right people in place that the job gets done the way it should be.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? Vice Mayor Cook.
Jim, I have a quick question. I believe that there's a set time of operation that the facility would be open. But I do have some friends that do play adult hockey at other locations, and I think they get ice time around 2 o'clock in the morning and 3 o'clock in the morning. What's your opinion about, ice time late into the evening and early morning? I'd love to hear your opinion.
Well, about 15 years ago, I was playing in the men's leagues. There was only 3 rinks in town. About 16, 17 years ago, we were playing 1:30 in the morning, championship game on a Tuesday night, had to go to work the next day. It's tough. I think the facility, I would love to see a 24-hour facility, only not for the guys that have to go to work at 7 o'clock the next morning, but there's guys that work second shift. And a lot of these guys are looking for recreation. I think we can provide something that plays until late morning or early hours of the morning instead of having them go to a bar until 2 o'clock in the morning. I think we can offer an alternative that I think is going to be more healthy for those people. Maybe not in Gilbert, but maybe at Arcadia or maybe in Peoria. I just think there's more opportunities for the facilities to be fully utilized. The same thing with curling. You can be done at all given hours of the morning and night. And so.
Thank you. Let's turn to the council for some feedback and see if there are additional questions, and I'll start at this end. Okay, Councilmember Daniels.
Mayor Lewis, I'm comfortable that we move forward with a motion. I don't know how the rest of the council feels. I feel like we've had extensive dialogue. There's been...
Mayor Lewis, members of the council, could I just add one quick thing before you do that, Councilmember Daniels? In spirit of just making sure I covered this, currently the hours of operation are Sunday through Thursday, 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., and then 6 a.m. to midnight on Fridays and Saturdays. Melanie's going to help me here. Part of the agreement, they had asked for if potential extended hours would be available, if you could focus in on that. And because it's located in a park, in a neighborhood, and so we came up with this language, basically, where any short-term or temporary extension of the scheduled hours, they can be requested by the tenant, and approval will be at the discretion of the Gilbert's Parks and Recreation Director, and this will only be in temporary circumstances, and it can only go 1 hour earlier and 2 hours later than the normal hours that I just stated. And that would be because any permanent hours, I believe, as your Parks Director, we would have to do outreach to the local residents to make sure that they understood and see if there was any issues with them. Okay? Thank you.
Councilmember Daniels, a couple of comments, and then I'll come right back to you because you're about to make a motion that to our residents, there have been a lot of comments and phone calls that have come, and council members have followed up, and I know these concerns have been taken very seriously. We have heard tonight from our town attorney that independent of how we would, well, let's say we did not approve it or we voted to continue it, that the receivership can go forward, and our vote is more of a recommendation that would carry some weight with the judge, but not necessarily be a deciding factor, that we're more of a point in the decision-making process to help the judge gather feedback. That I have heard from our town attorney that the agreement that Arcadia is willing to put in place with the town of Gilbert is much better than we had before, and has caused our town leadership to feel comfortable moving forward, as you stated. It's probably from a council perspective, we want to make sure the concerns are addressed, but at the same time, we're hearing comments that will help us feel comfortable in moving forward. And so with that, it may be time for the motion.
Thank you, Mayor, and I appreciate the work involved by all parties. So with that, I move to approve item 5A.
Second.
Okay. With that motion second, please vote. That's approved with a 7-0 vote. Thank you. We move to administrative items. Vice Mayor Cook, do we have any requests on the administrative items to speak?
We do not.
Okay. Agenda item 34, acceptance of the budget report for October 1st through December 31st. Do we want discussion or would we want a motion?
I think we'd like to have a motion.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve item 34.
Is there a second?
Second.
If that motion second, please vote. Okay, let's do it one more time. Please vote. That is approved with a 7-0 vote. Thank you. Item 35 is our Parks and Recreation Plan. We had some discussion on Tuesday, clarified the plan and the big picture, and there's more to come. And so tonight, as a council, would we like more discussion? Or at this point, the high-level guidelines that have been given in the plan, are we ready to entertain a motion? Councilmember Peterson?
Mayor, staff has been wonderful in helping me understand everything that's in the plan. Again, I compliment everyone for their work on it. There's a lot of wonderful information. We have all the feedback from all the different focus groups and different efforts there were for outreach in the community. We can look back on those and use those as a guide and a help for us. I'm happy about it. I'm grateful for it. And so I'm fine to go forward with the motion, but open to whatever other comments there are.
Councilmember Ray?
I was the only one, I think, on Tuesday who didn't say something. But I wanted to tell the staff and also the Parks Board, I had a chance to be a part of this at the beginning, and then Councilman Taylor took it over. But the amount of time and hours that the Parks and Rec Board put into this is pretty impressive. And I know all of our boards and commissions work hard, and I'm always a little biased towards the ones that I get to work with. But thank you to the Parks and Rec Board members who are members now, who were members when this started, and to our staff who put in a lot of time. And a lot of this time was not during the normal business hours. It was on nights and weekends and things like that. So thank you to them. This is a great roadmap as we go forward.
Thank you. Councilmember Peterson, you were about to do a motion, please.
I move to approve item 35.
Second.
With that motion second, please vote. That's approved with a 7-0 vote. Thank you. Agenda item 36, boards, commissions, and committee reports. Agenda item 37, policy discussion. We had that on Tuesday. Councilmember Peterson.
Mayor, the more I studied this and the more I thought about what I heard, the more I like it. I really like the work that they did on this. There's always things that I could want more in anything, and so I didn't mean to let that overshadow the good work that's done here. So, as I very clumsily said in study session, this is great work, and I do thank everyone who participated in developing it and also for helping me better understand it through our discussion earlier. So with that, unless there's other concerns, I'm happy to move to approve it.
Please.
I move to approve item 37.
Is there a second?
Second.
With that motion second, please vote. On the future meetings, I understand that there's an email, I haven't seen it yet, but I was verbally told that in trying to schedule an additional executive session that we have an Outlook meeting notice for Tuesday, February the 25th at 5 p.m. I understand, Councilmember Ray, that you'll be out of town. You'll see what you can do to try and call in, but at this point, if you could calendar that Tuesday, February 25th, 5 p.m. Agenda item 38, report from Town Manager.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I just want to recognize some staff for the great work on some of the projects and events we had tonight. First, Dana Birchman and our Gilbert Digital team for the excellent work on our State of the Town address by yourself, Mayor, as well as you. I include you in that as part of that team. There's a lot of work that goes into the planning of that, and it presents a very good image for our community, and I thank all of you for your help in that. And then second, Rod Buchanan and all the members of his staff who worked some very long hours on that Parks and Recreation master plan, as well as the members of our Parks and Recreation board, as well as Councilman Taylor and others of you who've been involved in that along the way. A lot of hard work. It'll be a great document for us moving forward, and I thank them.
Thank you. Agenda item 39. Councilmember Ray.
As part of the State of the Town address tonight, we had our different neighbors come, and those from Queen Creek were here, along with Mesa and Scottsdale and others. They invited us as a council and as the town of Gilbert to come out to their Roots and Boots Rodeo, which is March 7th through the 9th, and that's at Horseshoe Park and Equestrian Center in Queen Creek. If you go to rootsinboots.org, there's all the information there, but sounds like a great event.
Thank you. Agenda item 40, I give a second to the comments about the state of the town and for team members that worked on that. And to our town attorney and town clerk, we're about to move to an executive session. And so I think the proper verbiage would be we adjourn this meeting, or we recess to the executive session. And is there a motion on that and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Thank you. We will recess.